Hello, welcome to or back to my channel. Today's video we will be discussing the top 5 saddest backstories in Blue Lock. Since while the majority of the time this is just a fun and hype football anime / manga, there are times when the story can get deep and we learn about the dark past that some of these characters had before Blue Lock. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps with the channel. We are really close to 200 subscribers, so please consider subscribing. Also, this will be a very manga spoiler heavy video, since the majority of the backstories that I will be discussing have only been revealed and discussed in the manga. So if you're an anime only watcher, I would recommend watching another one of my videos, like my top 5 most hated Blue Lock characters, since that is a more anime watcher friendly video. Anyways, let's get right into the video. At number 5, we have Bachata. Bachata is one of the most positive, happy, and carefree characters that we have met in Blue Lock, making him one of the most beloved characters among fans. So it's especially hard to believe that behind his smile would be one of the sadder stories among the Blue Lock characters. Bachata's backstory begins from when he was a young boy, where he was often bullied by his peers, leaving him quite lonely, with football being his only comfort, since he didn't have any friends due to his bullying and people thinking he was strange. Because of this, Bachata created a monster inside of himself that he would play football with, but even after creating this monster, Bachata still felt lonely and craved having a friend that loved playing football just as much as he did. But what especially makes Bachata's backstory so sad is the scene where you could see him sitting under a bridge and you see just how much his loneliness affects him and how much he worries that he will never truly find a friend that will understand him and he'll be alone forever. Which many people can relate to Bachata's story of struggling to make friends, feeling like an outcast to your peers, as well as feeling like your moments of loneliness will last forever. But seeing Bachata under that bridge, craving companionship, and even having his head go to dark places due to his loneliness was one of the saddest scenes in Blue Lock. Luckily, Bachata gets a happy ending, since when he joins Blue Lock, he ends up meeting Izaki and finally meets someone that is just as passionate about the sport as he is, and that he feels like understands him. Plus, Bachata has made even more friends with other Blue Lock characters and is finally less lonely. So due to Bachata getting his happy ending, I decided to put him in the 5th spot. Next, we have Rin. Some might not agree with putting Rin at 4th, since he is considered by many to have a very sad backstory, but while other characters above him might not have as detailed backstories, I would consider their backstories to be sadder, but you can let me know in the comments if you think Rin should be ranked higher. Now for Rin's story, when we first met his character, he was quite standoffish and cold towards the other characters, and we later find out that he's like this due to the past with his brother, since when Rin was young, he was actually quite a happy child and looked up to his older brother Sai, with the two having a close and positive relationship where he had dreams of becoming the best striker in the world alongside with his brother. But after his brother leaves to train with an overseas football team in Spain, his brother returns much colder and harsher towards Rin and tells him horrible things, as well as that he no longer shares the dream of becoming the best striker in the world with Rin. This interaction ends up ruining the brothers' relationship and has created the much colder Rin that we meet in the Blue Lock facility. And realizing that Rin is the way that he is and doesn't let anyone in because he was betrayed by his brother, the person that he trusted most, is a very sad realization, since Rin was so drastically changed by what happened. And it's even more sad since by the end of the U20 match, when Rin and Sai have a brief discussion, you realize that Rin still loves his brother a lot and is just a hurt kid that wants to be acknowledged and admired by his brother once again, only for Sai to completely crush his brother again, because there's nothing like a little bit of trauma to help make your brother stronger. Am I right? Next, we have Yukimiya. While Yukimiya's backstory isn't discussed as much among readers unless jokes are being made about it, when compared to other characters, Yukimiya does in fact have one of the saddest backstories in Blue Lock. Yukimiya seemed like a character that had it all, from his popularity, good looks, and being good at everything he does, including playing football and his side job as a model. But then he gets diagnosed with an eye condition that will cause him to someday completely lose his vision. Also, due to this condition, playing intense sports such as football will cause Yukimiya to lose his vision even quicker. So it is recommended by his doctor that he gives up his dreams of becoming the best striker in the world and stop playing football completely so he can focus on his health and not lose his vision faster. And of course, Yukimiya is heartbroken by this news, since even with everything that he has, it's his love of football and wanting to become the best striker that motivates him most. But even with the knowledge that he is negatively impacting his health, Yukimiya goes against his doctor's advice and decides he'll still play football, and he'll just work faster and harder than his peers to become the best striker, even if it causes him to go blind faster. Obviously, Yukimiya's story is very tragic, since by doing what he loves, which is playing football, he is risking his health. Plus, readers know that Yukimiya is risking everything for a losing battle, since we know that with Izaki being the main character, Izaki is destined to become the best striker in the world by the end of the series. So this makes Yukimiya's story even sadder, since we know that he will never truly meet his goal of being the best striker before his time runs out. In second place, we have Hiori. Since while Yukimiya might have a sadder backstory, Hiori's chapter 206, called Expectations, is considered to be by many one of the darkest chapters in Blue Lock, so I decided to give Hiori the second place spot. In this chapter, we learned that Hiori was considered to be a prodigy since he was a young boy, since he came from two professional athletes that were known to always come in second place. Also, I just realized that Hiori's parents always come in second place, and I put him in second place, but that wasn't planned. Anyways, due to this, Hiori's parents wanted to create a champion that would finally achieve their goal of coming in first place in something. And that's another reason why I put Hiori so high on the list, since from the day he was born and just a baby, Hiori has had so many expectations put on him. And instead of being created as a kid for his parents to love, they simply made him to live out their dreams. Since he was a kid, Hiori was amazing in football and put into intense training programs so he could become the best striker in the world. But Hiori realized that the only reason that his parents were staying together is because of him, and even hears them say that if he doesn't become the best player in the world, they plan on getting a divorce. And this obviously is a messed up situation for Hiori to be put in at any age, but especially as a small child. And the chapter is especially dark since we see how Hiori views his parents throughout the chapter, where they look more like monsters at certain points in the chapter than his actual parents. And even when Hiori falls down the stairs and hurts himself, his parents are more concerned about him not being able to play anymore than if he is actually hurt, which makes Hiori come to the crushing realization that his parents could care less about him as a person and just care about whether or not he could achieve their goals that they had for him. Due to this, Hiori continues to play football, but he loses all passion for the sport and only continues to play because he knows that it is the only thing holding his family together. And Hiori questions what his true purpose is in life and even uses video games as a way to cope with his life and not deal with the real world. And it becomes even sadder when you realize that Hiori enjoys being at Blue Lock so much more than most people there because he could finally get away from his parents and feels more at peace in the facility than he does at his own home. And Hiori has been dealing with this pressure since he was a kid and has never found true peace because of this. Hiori is amazing at football, since it is even stated by Karasu that Hiori is a genius when it comes to the sport, but due to his lack of love for it, he is just average in certain aspects. There's been many hints in the latest chapters that Hiori is finding his passion from seeing Izaki play, so hopefully this will all change soon, but due to the dark nature of his chapter, and considering that Hiori has been dealing with all of this pressure since the moment he was born, I decided to put him in the second place spot. Before I discuss our first place spot, I decided to quickly mention some honorable mentions. First, we have Chigiri with his backstory about his ACL tear. Chigiri's story is a very relatable one to many athletes, since having a bad injury can be a scary situation, and even when you make a full recovery, there is always the worry in the back of your mind that you could re-injure yourself or even hurt yourself so bad to the point where you can no longer play your sport. And it is very sad seeing the long process that Chigiri has to go through, and then being no longer regarded as a prodigy by his peers since he is afraid to hurt himself again. But luckily, like with Bachata, we see Chigiri overcome his struggle and he is now an amazing player. But his story is still a sad one that many athletes have to deal with, so I decided to put him in the honorable mentions. Next, we have Nora Haya, and while he is a very minor character in the first selection, we do get to learn a bit more about his character in the second selection when he challenges Isagi to a 2v2. In the match, we learn about Nora Haya's past, where we find out that both of his parents have passed away, so him and his siblings have to be taken care of by his older sister, and they do not have a lot of money, so they have to ration their food a lot. And it's pretty sad when you realize that the reason why Nora Haya is playing football is because he wants to make money to help his family, which makes his elimination during the second selection even more sad. But due to him being a minor character and a very small part in the story, I decided to just put him in the honorable mentions. Now, as for the number one spot, for a while, Hiori's backstory was considered to be the darkest and saddest story to many fans, but we then learn about Marc Snuffy's backstory, and it definitely takes the cake for being the darkest story that has been told in Blue Lock so far. Snuffy is the master striker and coach for the Ubers. When we first meet Snuffy, he seems like a level-headed and kind guy that prioritizes teamwork and mental health of his players over anything else. And we learned the reason for this is because of Snuffy's past, where he had a best friend that he played football with, and the both of them had a dream of becoming the best players in the world. They lived a life filled with riches, partying, and more, where they seemed like they were living their best life. But due to this lifestyle, their performances end up dropping, and they end up getting removed from the starting lineup of their team. This also puts a strain on their friendship. But then Snuffy later on discovers his friend's body. This is definitely the heaviest subject matter that Blue Lock has dealt with, and Snuffy definitely has the saddest backstory of all the Blue Lock characters we have met. Snuffy has used the loss of his friend as the philosophy for what Ubers is, which is being a team first and foremost. Anyways, that is the end of this list. Please let me know if there are any other characters that you would put on this list, and who do you think has the saddest backstory? My subscribers have voted for Marc Snuffy, so let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.